So it's been a long time since I made anything or even went on YouTube, but I thought I'd make a little comeback for the best time of the year, which of course is Halloween. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can take an old or a new plain black corset, upcycle it into this very vampy blue morpho butterfly costume that is perfect for Halloween and probably no other occasion. It has fingerless gloves, which I made myself, wings that I bought and then painted, and then lots of little butterfly accessories. I used different colours of velvet, including 2 different types of blue and black. I used lots of blue thread. My old corset is from Amazon. As you can see, it's a type of corset that's netted, so you can see where you're sewing each part of the fabric between each bone as you upcycle it. It also has nice little hooks to fasten it in the middle. So I've got my 3 colours of fabric. I've got all my equipment, which is my threads, clips to hold things in place, sewing pins, tape measure and rotary cutter for easy cutting. So starting with the corset, I chose my first piece of fabric, which was the lightest blue, placed it under the first section of the corset, tracing around it about 2 centimeters outward all the way around. At this stage, it doesn't have to be neat or super accurate, because you are going to be cutting off the excess anyway. So basically you just want a nice big piece of material that roughly matches this part. Next you want to get your pins and you want to attach it to this particular section of the corset. So once you've pinned it down, you're going to sew on the outer edge of the corset bone all the way around on the inside of the corset. There may be other ways you can add fabric to a corset, but I found that this was the easiest way to get the colours that I wanted, including the different shades. Once you've finished, it should look something like this, including actually sewing over the fasteners, as you'll be opening up these later. Underneath you can see that it does fit nicely along the bone of the corset. So I used about 10 pieces of fabric for each section of the corset. Your corset might be built differently, so cut out as many as you need then. When I first was adding the pieces of fabric to the corset, I decided to fold the edge over for a nice neat edge and pin it down. However, I thought that this was a little bit tricky, so I just let it all stay raggedy until I cut them all off at the end. So next you'll do the same on the other side, cutting up again the same shapes but for the opposite side. Sew on all your pieces again, and this time I did actually add an extra inch of material to end up going over the clasps, as you can see, which I then cut some holes into so they could poke through just like this. It needs to poke through. As you can see, there, poked through. There's still extra material on the other side of the clasps, so feel free to cut that off. So all the pieces of material are sewn on, and it's in its first stage of raggediness, but don't worry, it won't look like that once finished. I also got my unpicker just to poke the other side of the clasps through the material. It looks very neat like this, as you can see, ready for attaching. So here is the finished version. I'm going to cut off all the little extra parts so it looks a little bit neater, but as you can see, it's come together. It's got different shades of blue. And the next thing I'm going to do is make black outlines for each section of the corset, and I'm going to make them about 1 inch or 2 centimeter width. This was quite a fiddly part, so don't feel like you have to add them, but I wanted it for extra dramatic effect. So you'll need your tape measure and your rotary cutter to cut out strips that should look something like this, which you're then going to fold over so they look nice and neat, and I then pinned them into place, and they ended up looking something like this, which you're going to add on top of the corset for dramatic effect. Sew on either side of the corset, not catching the bone. I also added black straps to the top of it too, which you'll sew on with wide stitches to avoid catching the bone. That's the trick, sewing with wide stitches. It should look something like this, minus the clips, of course. Next was a bit of a freestyle of some floating wings that I wanted to add to a skirt. So I didn't need them to look entirely like a butterfly's wings because the actual wings and the corset were the focus of the outfit, but I did measure up 2 giant wing shapes of black velvet and added in smaller shapes of 2 shades of blue. I got a plain black velvet skirt that I wanted to add it onto. So you'll sew all the way around the 3 pieces of wing fabric like this to create 2 flappy wing style pieces. So it ends up looking something like this. I really like the floaty shabby effect rather than it looking too rigid. And next to the corset, it's all coming together. Then for my favourite part, which is the wings. So I love to do watercolour painting, so this was a total dream. I found these really cute wings off Amazon and I painted them in lighter parts, the shades of blue watercolour, and then I filled in the black parts with the black watercolour. It was very easy to do and they ended up looking like this. Probably my favourite part of the costume after the corset. The wings were super cheap as well and really complete the whole outfit. So, not my finest sewing, but the final part was creating this very sexy fingerless gloves, which I made measuring my largest part of my arm, the length of my arm, and simply cutting out a tube and sewing it together, and then cutting out a hole for the thumb. I do feel like I could have made these a little bit better, but I am not a glove maker. But I also was running out of time and I literally had like 1 day till Halloween and I wasn't even sure if I wanted them. But here is the outfit without them and then here is with them. So as you can see, I ended up looking a little bit better with them. Nothing I ever make is perfect. I'm a big fan of very shabby sewing, but when it all comes together, it does look good. So here you can see the final outfit all put together. I got these cute little butterfly earrings, my gloves are ready, and this is the outfit head to toe, along with these cute little butterfly pins for the hair also. And there you have it, a quick, well, not quick, upcycle butterfly outfit for Halloween. Shabby skirt, wings, and yeah, I was pretty proud of this. It's probably the last thing that I'll make for a while, so I wanted to have a lot of fun with it, and yeah.